It's Paul McCosco and Bill Cox. We're both coaches with Bill Cox Coaching. We're coming to you today, kind of an abbreviated podcast as we start this new year together. Bill, how's your new year going so far?
Year is going pretty good. I mean, we're only 5 days in. Been battling a cold literally on Christmas Day, right after lunch, when I enjoyed my annual traditional prime rib. Man, I was down at my parents' house and with my extended family, and I just started to feel off.
Uh-oh.
And it just spiraled from that point forward to a full-blown virus of some sort. I don't know which one. I just had my annual checkup with my physician yesterday, and he said there's like 4 of these strains going around. I don't know which one I got, but man, I got hit. Actually got it from my son. You know, that's the wonderful thing about being part of a family. You share and share alike. Well,
It's the
he
season for
shared
giving.
that, man, with both my wife and me. And it was like I was down for 4 days. I typically use that week to kind of plan and reflect on the past year and look forward to the new year. It's a down week where a lot of people aren't working and there's not much happening in the business. So it's a really cool week typically, but I was pretty much non-functional. I mean, I was just down for the count. Fever, bronchial stuff, headaches. I mean, nausea. It was the full nine. So just kind of coming out of that now and still dealing with a cough.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry that your year ended with a cold. As you're going out with the old, your year is ending with a cold. But now, as you think about this year, have you made any New Year's resolutions or personal decisions, things you hope to change here in 2023?
Yeah, we were talking about that. We send out this tool every year. We've done it for the past, I don't know how many years now, for all the people on our mailing list of it's this exercise, a twofold exercise of looking back, reflecting back on the past year and capturing the key learnings and lessons and successes and ideas, and then using that to springboard into the new year to set goals and identify those areas where you want to see real change. And I was telling you, I have as much enjoyment kind of doing the look back reflection part of it as I do the planning. It's always, I don't know, it's satisfying and fulfilling to think about the past 365 days and to kind of capture. I was like thinking about, okay, what did I learn over the past 365 days? Capturing those lessons are, I think, invaluable. And then just seeing what the high points were, and then to use that to build on 2023. So did that on Monday. Finally, I was going to do that in that week before or between Christmas and New Year's. Just didn't feel well enough to do it, but did that on Monday, and it was a great time. Had a chance to think through my reading list. Really got a good start on thinking through areas that I want to grow in and things that I want to learn and read this year. And then spent time thinking through my plan for growth, even more so than goals, which I did set goals personally and professionally, but it's more like how I'm going to grow in the coming year. I think goals really flow out of that. And for me, the central idea that came out of that was the idea of consistency. Over the past few months, we've had something going on the personal side of our family life where we're helping renovate this space for my son that he's going to be moving into, and just been a lot of time invested in renovating that space. And it was a priority, and I'm glad we did it. But at the same time, some of those rhythms, those daily routines and habits got pushed to the side because so much time was being spent on this project. And so for me, it was just making sure I protect every day good sleep hygiene, getting to bed at the right time, getting up at the right time, starting out my day and reading, spiritual reading and scripture, also just reading to stimulate my mind and grow me on a personal level in different areas of my life. So setting aside time to do that every day, setting aside time to write in the morning, and then alongside of the spiritual mental side, also recentering myself around some physical routines, some exercise routines and habits. I was telling you earlier, I just turned 56, and man, the older I get, the more challenging it is to maintain flexibility, to maintain any level of, muscle mass. I mean, it's a lot. It takes a lot more work now than it ever has in the past. So identifying just some key exercise routines that I can sustain and make sure that I'm paying attention to on a weekly basis, from stretching to walking to working out, just so I'm paying attention to that side of my life and how important it is for me to do those, be consistent with those core routines. If I'm doing that, I feel so much better at every level. And then I'm much more motivated to hit goals, to set goals, and to fulfill those goals. So for me, that was a big part of what came out of that planning, is just recentering myself around some of those foundational habits.
I love it. And I love the opportunity to look back. Part of the gift of finishing a year is being able to step back and see what worked, what didn't work, what you want to change for the new year. As I was thinking back on last year, one of my goals was to write 3 pages each and every morning, which I had so much fun doing at the beginning. And then toward the middle, it started to get exhausting. And then toward the end of last year, there were, like you said, life happens. There were days that I couldn't do it. And then I would just beat myself up when I couldn't do it. Oh, Paul, you did it so well at the beginning. Was your creativity running dry? All these thoughts come circling through your head. So I decided I love the practice of writing, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to write 1 page every morning. I'm going to pare down what I'm doing, and I'm going to do it differently. I'm going to write in a different style in the mornings. So, it's not giving up on what I started, but tweaking it and refining it to make it serve my growth better. So that way it's not something that, detracts from the rest of my day if I can't accomplish it. So I'm definitely going to continue writing. Another thing, you talked about spiritual reading in the morning, and I realized last year that I had been doing all of my spiritual reading on my phone, right? I have a Bible app that I was reading through in the mornings, and my kids would often think I was just scrolling Facebook and playing around on my phone, like most people do when they're on their phones.
Yeah.
And I thought, you know what? Not only do I want to be in the Bible for what it teaches me, but I want to be in the Bible to set an example to my children. And so I went back to the old school leather bound Bible, and that's what I'm going to do my spiritual reading in the mornings from
That's
now on.
awesome.
And it's the second part of my resolution. And the third is, you pick the word consistency, and the word that I gravitate toward this year, my word for this year is unexpected. So much of my life last year, I've planned out. I wanted to be in control of everything. And I realized I didn't leave much room for unexpected things to happen. And oftentimes it's the things that you don't expect, the things that you can't plan for, that are some of the richest and most significant parts of life. So my year this year, I'm going to embrace the unexpected. I'm going to look for the unexpected every day, and I'm going to allow room for unexpected things to happen.
That's cool. So think about that for, those listening in our audience. And as you think about a new year, to me, there are just a few, I think, key principles to hit on. Number one, I love the idea of the new year and the opportunity to kind of hit the reset button. And it's important to, I think, remember this principle of, life is really about learning and growth. It's not about pass and fail. And I don't know if you're like me, it's easy when we don't hit a goal or we fall off consistency with a routine or something that we wanted to do. It's easy to like beat yourself up and just think, I'm never going to get this right. What a loser,
Absolutely.
I must be one of those people who can't be consistent in life. I just don't have that gene or whatever. And it's easy to just fall into that destructive pattern of self-judgment. And I think rather than doing that, use this as an opportunity to hit the reset button. Hey, okay, fell off the wagon a little bit, got inconsistent. Life happens for all of us, right? I mean, that's life. You get knocked off routines because so much of life is dynamic and unpredictable. And even for those things that we can predict, and we, like myself, I chose to really work on this home that my son's going to be moving into. Well, that's a priority. And it's a season. I'm not going to be doing this for the next 10 years, but for a few months, that is a necessary and important and chosen priority, which means there's a real time investment going into there. And I just need to be okay with not doing some of the things that I might typically do because of that. So understand that's okay. And then realize that, okay, that season's coming to a close. Now it's time to get back into some of those core routines that are the stuff of a successful life, right? No matter who it is, if you listen and read the most successful people, you get the idea that they make the most of the morning. They have some core routines that they're very consistent with day in and day out. And it's in the consistency of certain habits, because of what those habits do for us, that it lays the foundation and cultivates for a successful life. So just say, hey, it's time to refocus on those. I'm not going to beat myself up, but this is a great opportunity at the start of a new year to refocus on those and to get going again. So that to me is the one. Secondly, as I was listening to you talk, even myself talk, the importance of writing things down. If you want to be successful on changing in certain areas or growing in certain areas, well, we know the science of goal setting tells us that we need to write them down because they become much more real to us, and B, make them very measurable. And that I would say along with that, sustainable, is not only is it measurable, but is it sustainable? Is it realistic? Is this something that you can sustain every day? Because doing less and doing it consistently over a longer period of time will yield you much greater results than if you try to do something big on the short term. Darren Hardy writes about this in the compound effect, the power of compounded activity done consistently every day, day in and day out over time. We can't even calculate the difference, the change that can create for us. So even like yourself, like, I'm not going to do 3 pages. I'm going to do 1 page. I'm going to write 1 page every day. Very measurable, very sustainable. I think that's a great idea. One of the things I have as a part of my exercise plan is I'm going to walk at least 1 to 2 miles every day. Now, is that the sum total of my exercise plan? No, but it's part of it. And I feel like 1 to 2 is, in light of everything else going on in life, it's sustainable. It's something I can do every day consistently with my dog, with weights. And by doing that consistently over time, that'll represent an important part of my overall physical and even psychological health. There's something about getting outside, fresh air, in creation with my dog that is revitalizing for me. So write it down, make it measurable, make it sustainable. And then I think the third thing is, and I got this from Tony Robbins as I was reading an email from him the other day. He talked about the power of proximity. And he was specifically talking about people. Who are the people who are close to you in your life? He was encouraging the reader to, and challenging people to like get around people that make you uncomfortable, because they're at a different point in their life. They're ahead of you in their growth. Put yourself in environments where you feel really uncomfortable because they're at a higher place, or a better or more advanced place than you. And it's, as you surround yourself with people like that, it has a very powerful effect on our own lives in helping us, live up to a higher level. And so I think it's the whole Andy Stanley principle of, you can't lead yourself by yourself. Yeah, I'm responsible for setting my goals, knowing where I need to change and grow, and establishing a good plan for how to get there. But I don't do that by myself. In that process, I encourage you to find people who share that same passion for growth and development, who you can meet with on a regular basis, who will encourage you, support you, challenge you, and just by their own example, keep you accountable because of their own high commitment to personal growth.
Well, and those are some of our reflections on the end of 2022 and the beginning of 2023. And now, leader, it's your turn. What are some of the things that really worked for you last year that you want to continue in and through this year?
Yeah.
And what are some of the things that you desire to start in this year that are going to serve your growth goals, that are going to make you more into the person that you desire to be, that are going to shape your legacy into the legacy you one day hope to leave behind? We'd love to know. Email us. Make sure you sign up for our newsletter at billcoxcoaching.com, and we'll keep you connected to resources that'll help you continue to grow into the person you desire to become.
So good. And I was just listening to somebody yesterday, just talking about the value of every day. We only get one life, and today is the only time I have right now. It was a good reminder for me to say, I want to make the most of my one and only one life. Be intentional. Use this opportunity to make 2023, I know it sounds cliche-ish, but the best year of your life. Why not? That's an option. That's an opportunity for every one of us to do that. And there's no better time than right now to say, hey, I want to do that. I want to be intentional at a level that I've never been before. Maybe we could share that tool again with the listeners, just as a simple framework to use for planning intentionally around where you want to grow in the coming year.
Sounds good. Well, Happy New Year from Bill Cox Coaching.
Hey, thanks again for watching today's video. And before you go, subscribe to our YouTube channel and make sure you go to billcoxcoaching.com, sign up for our regular newsletter to help you move from success to significance and lead your life in such a way that you live a legacy. Have a great day.